Ladies and gentlemen, this interview is brought to you by www.employeeescapeplan.com. And if you're looking for marketing solutions to help you grow your business as a service professional, coach, consultant, author, speaker, someone who's out to make a difference and impact the world, you definitely want to have a conversation with Mr. Joe Nicasio. He's an amazing guy, super great, wise business owner, and a problem solver, really great problem solver. I highly recommend employeeescapeplan.com. Craig and Jenny D provide practical and purposeful strategies designed for you to achieve the ideal version of yourself. Many talk about balance in their lives, but they know firsthand that you must seek to understand the secrets to rebuilding your foundations before you can balance them. Craig and Jenny will teach you their secrets to movement, nutrition, and mindset to build your foundation for sustainable wellness. Let them energize your life and your business through their personalized coaching, wellness consulting, corporate development training, and motivational keynotes. Take a stand for the life you deserve. Learn what they have. The secrets to building a foundation of health, happiness, and success. Craig and Jenny, you ready to rock it?
We are.
Boom. All right. You are now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Thank you for coming on today, guys.
Great.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We are so excited to be here with you. It feels like weeks that it's been coming to get here, so we're excited.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I love it. So thank you. And you guys have amazing things that you got going on. You're helping people. You're transforming their fitness, their health, all that good stuff. And before we get into your journey, your story, what you're doing today, we're going to dive into the topic, the theme of today, which is called winning the game of life. And we like to start out and just see what is your perspective on the idea, the mentality of winning the game of life. Are you out to win? Is that really that important? How do you approach it? So let's just get your philosophy on winning the game of life. We can hear both of you. We'll start with, looks like Jenny's ready to go, so we'll go Jenny, then Craig.
It's funny, Chris, because we have 5 kids at home too, and so we always talk to our kids when we're playing games with them. They love to play card games and board games, and we always tell them, don't let it get you down, right? If you lose, but at the same time, how you play the game is how you play in life. And so if you do lose, you better learn something from it and take it into that next round, because that's when you're going to come forward and you're actually going to win the game. And having that constant mindset that in the next round, you're going to win. So I was just playing a game one-on-one with my daughter yesterday morning, and we had this conversation because the first 4 or 5 rounds, I beat her every time. And she's, I never win. And I said, as long as you keep up the attitude, you're right. You're never going to win. Wow. I said, you got to believe you're going to win this next round. And she's like, all right. And she said, I'm winning it this time, Mommy. I'm taking you. Yes. I'm like, all right, let's see. And sure enough, she won that next round, and we don't ever let them win, right? Because that's not how life works. Right. So I think that that's so true, right? It really is. We have to win in this game of life, and it's about our attitude. We have to constantly be on top of our game, and we won't win every single time, but we never lose if we keep learning and growing. Right. And that's really how we approach our life and everything we do with our clients.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, we got to keep on. We got to keep on trying. And I think one of the big things is that people make it way too complicated. I really think they do. They make it too complicated. That it's easier than they potentially even think. Yeah. It really is. But a lot of people don't get it. They're striving, but they're on this treadmill. They're that little hamster on a wheel, and they're not getting anywhere. And they're like, why am I not getting anywhere? And, that's where it comes down to, the 3 things that we talk about a lot is, the mindset, nutrition, and movement. But it is a lot easier than they potentially think. It's just right at their grasp. And all they've got to do is go out and really get it. But that's how winning the game of life. It is a lot easier than they think.
Wow. Amazing. Awesome. I love that we started off that way. A lot about just the attitude, right? It's like your attitude determines your journey, your experience of life. And so we're going to get into what you guys are doing today a little bit more so you can catch our audience up. Like, what is it that you do in helping people with their wellness? And you talked about the 3 areas. So just give us a quick overview of what you guys do today.
Sure. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple things. First of all, what we do is we focus on three things. Which is going to be mindset, movement, and nutrition. Those are our three categories, and we have to be focused on all three of them. It's just not one, two, or one or the other two. It is all three. Mm-hmm. And that is we has found really the secret sauce to making sure that you are going to live the life that you really, really want to lead. Mm-hmm. And how do we go about helping people? In really three different ways. One is we do retreats. So 3, 4, 5-day retreats. A lot of times we'll come in and we'll get everybody energized up, and we'll really show what caring really means. To a lot of these people that bring us in and show us to their clients. That's what really caring means, is we can make as much money as we want, but if we don't have the health to go with the wealth, it really doesn't matter as much.
Right.
And then the other part is whenever we come in for, the corporate side, we come in and we energize corporations. We do very similar to the retreats, but we're really energizing these corporations, these high-level executives, these sales executives to make sure that, as an employee, they are doing the best they can, not only for their company, but then they can also do it personally for themselves. Right. And the last part is, the coaching.
Yeah.
Right?
With the coaching with our individual clients, it's all about them getting to a point that they finally recognize just how great their body's designed to feel. Right? We were all given this body that we were born with and mind. And so many times we're just not respecting it well enough. And so it starts to feel bad. Yeah. And realistically, if we're doing all the right things and respecting our body with every decision that we make and our mind, you wake up every day, jump out of bed full of energy. And it should last that way well through the evening after you've gotten all of your work done and had your personal time or family time, Chris. And so surrounding yourself with the right people, that's important, right? Mm-hmm. That's why we're here with you today, because you got to have positive people. That attitude has to be right. Your mindset, you've got to overcome your limiting beliefs, and you have to fuel your body and keep it moving so your body knows it's growing and not dying. Mm-hmm. We sit still too long. Our body thinks we're going into hibernation or that we're going to die.
Yeah.
We got to keep it going.
Yeah. It's true. That's basically millions of years of evolution. Yeah. If you really look at it, 1,000,000 years ago, let's just say 200 years ago, we were hunters and gatherers, and we moved all the time. We were hunting, we were gathering. It wasn't like we just hopped in went into the garage, and then we started the car and we went to the grocery store and got everything. We actually had to move. Right. And whenever, and nowadays we don't move as much. So, we're trying to change evolution, and evolution says you have to keep on moving. But most of the times, we're kind of sitting on our tushies, just way too much. And it says that we're dying.
Yeah, and it also sounds like that there's this pattern that has us operate at our best self. Now, how do we take this biological pattern that's built into us and utilize it in a way, given how our society looks now? There's certain ways to exercise, there's certain ways to eat, there's certain ways to think and go about our day, attitude, mixing all these together to be able to create that harmonious, full life, that zestful life where we show up and we're loving. We have the capacity to handle whatever life throws at us, and that really comes through being clear on what we require as a body to stay nimble, to stay flexible, not only in our body but also our mind and our spirit, and just be able to handle whatever comes at us.
Let me tell you an analogy real quick, and then I want you to go into it. But when you think about it, imagine most of the people that we work with and see, they are all kind of they're standing on the beach. And what are they? And they've got a boat right there, and you see these waves coming in, and they want to get that boat, and they're trying to get past the waves. And what do the waves do? They keep on pushing them back in and pushing them back in. They can't get to their journey. They can't get on their journey. They can't get past that because all these waves, which are a lot of times, some movement, nutrition, limiting beliefs, etc., that are crashing them back in. So that is, just a good analogy to put in people's minds. But Jenny, tell us a little more about what.
Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of times, right, to get that momentum to go out, you just have to have a constant force behind you, pushing you out past those waves. If you were on a surfboard or in a small boat of some sort, you could use a paddle, you could use your feet to push you out. But if you have someone there to hold you accountable and to educate you on the small steps that you need to take to keep moving in a forward direction past all of those waves, then it's smooth sailing. And that's where people start to create sustainable changes in their life. Because everybody in today's society we've been trained to look for a quick fix, right? We don't want to sit still. We don't want anything to take more than 5 minutes to get done, if that. We want everything right now, right now.
Yesterday.
Yeah, right? Yesterday. And the problem is it comes yesterday, but then it's gone as quick as it came.
Yeah.
And when we're looking for results like that. And so imagine we have to educate ourselves so we understand why we're making the decisions that we are to respect our body. Then it becomes easy, right? If I've got the whole tray of cookies sitting in front of me, but I understand what that's going to do to me physically, emotionally, from a self-confidence standpoint, when I can see that cookie tray for something different than just a cookie tray. Now, when I pass that cookie tray, I look at it in a whole different realm. Then, man, they're going to taste good, right? And so as we train our bodies and our minds to think differently about our surroundings, it really becomes so easy because we're just on then autopilot down the road where you're not even thinking about it because you've trained your body, you've trained your mind, and you start craving all of the things that do respect your mind and body.
I love that. And what I hear you also in your work with your clients, with the groups and retreats and stuff, it sounds like you're also shifting people at an identity level, because when someone walks by those cookies and they see them as something different than they are, then that's like a new person. How you're relating to these cookies is like, who I am is not someone who is a victim or who is powerless or who is seduced by the sugar in cookies or the taste of sugar. Who I am is someone who cares more about my fitness and the discipline of taking care of myself. And it just takes that work on people to be able to identify themselves as that person. So I love that, and I love where we're going so far. And I want to go back a little bit because things weren't always so great for you guys. You didn't always have this identity of yourselves as being super powerful, in control of your thoughts, your behaviors, your results, your reality. So why don't you bring us back to like when it was just getting started, or some of the biggest challenges that you had to overcome, or some of those rock bottom or turning point moments to get to where we are today, because you guys are awesome, and I want to hear what had that actually come to where we are today.
Yeah, thanks, Chris, because it did. It was a journey, right? And I'll start because part of it, a lot of it really was what I went through. It involved both of us. But, for years and years, Craig and I were both in corporate America. And we loved our jobs. We had wonderful careers there. It was great. And in 2010, when we were getting married, we had both been through a divorce. And we were getting married. We were bringing together two different families. So I had one child at the time, he had three, and we had decided once we got married, we'd bring a fifth into the mix just for fun, create a little Brady Bunch. And, there was a lot going on though. We had been laid off multiple times. So there was financial stress going on. There was clearly relationship stress with the two different divorce situations and all the kids. So I decided that I was going to stay home with our new child. And I was going to go back into my love of fitness at that point. I was going to finally become a trainer because as much as I had loved my career in finance, fitness had always been a passion of mine. Yeah. And when I did it, my goal was I wanted to help other business travelers to stay in shape and stay healthy on the road because it was something I had always done. And I wanted to share that with the world. And so that was really the goal. Well, as life has it, right, we always go through things for a reason. And shortly after I finished with personal training school, our youngest daughter was 1 at the time. I was instructing other students back at the personal training school, and I started becoming very, very sick. And we just couldn't put our hands around it because the doctors were saying, there's nothing wrong with you. You're perfectly healthy. Your blood work,
test, everything.
Yeah, everything looked great. Your blood work, all the tests, everything looked perfect. And yet my weight was spiraling out of control downward. So I ended up losing over the course of 18 months, 25% of my body weight and just completely spiraling. I was in pain all the time. My symptoms were very representative of autoimmune disease, many of the symptoms that people have there. Pain shifting from different joints all the time, never knowing where it was going. Long story short, no doctor could come up with what was wrong or how to solve the problem. So we were faced with a situation ourselves to say, do I just lay down and let the disease get the best of me, or do we figure out solutions for ourselves? And we were already eating very well, and we were working out all the time. So in a lot of ways, it didn't make sense because we were healthy people. And I went to actually a nutritional healing retreat
Wow.
And that's when the light bulb went off. They said to me, look, we can heal you from the inside out. Nutritionally, physically, we can heal you. But if you keep the same mindset and continue to handle your stress the same way that you've been dealing with it, you're going to go home and be sick all over again.
Wow.
They said, you must work with a transformational coach on mindset. Okay, sign me up. Let's do it, right?
Yeah.
No excuses, just do whatever it takes. I started working with this woman literally within 2 months. My weight started climbing back up to where it should be. I was feeling better. My pain was disappearing. Our relationship between us changed. Our relationship with our children changed. We started seeing opportunities in front of us all over the place, right? You shift your mind and really do the work to get past limiting beliefs. Everything around you changes, right?
Yes.
And that's when we really, going through all of that over the course of a period of time, we realized, gosh, there is more to healthy living than just movement and nutrition. The mindset work has got to be a piece of it to truly wake up every day and understand how great you're designed to feel. And not have those negative thoughts cycling through your head every day, not have things holding you back, but truly having that confidence and overcoming any limiting beliefs that we have to keep moving forward. And it's a never-ending process, right? It's not to say that we're perfect now. And we still work with a mindset coach all the time, the same one we've been working with for years. And by the way, we use her with our clients too. And we have other ones we also utilize because you need different personality matches and stuff. But that mindset piece has got to be something that all of our clients do, because that's really the magic formula to making those sustainable changes, because that's what it's all about.
Wow. Awesome. Beautiful share. Thank you for sharing, Jenny. And, I hear that, like, even when, for everyone listening, even when you feel like you're doing everything and you're like, you've exhausted all options, you feel like you're giving it 110%, there's always that, like, there's always the potential of that blind spot that you just, like, could never even imagine, like, what, of course it would be your attitude after the fact, but before that, you're like, I'm just doing everything I possibly can. I'm doing the right things. I'm eating the right foods. I'm in shape. I'm like doing it right. Like, why isn't it working? And I'm just so grateful that we live in an age where the wisdom and experience of people who have gone through what we've gone through before is so available for us. And there's people out there who provide services to be able to give us access to new solutions, to new ways of life. So for everyone listening, whatever you're going through, whatever you're dealing with, whatever next level that you're attempting to get to, just trust that it's all working out perfectly. Have faith that you're like this far away, whatever, like 1 inch, one step, one thing away from just transforming it all.
So many times when we give up, it was right there in front of us.
It was. I mean, it's like, if you can imagine, somebody, you're underground, you're digging a tunnel and that, and you're looking for the end and it's going to be coming close, but you keep on digging. And then you stop. And if you only went like just one more foot, you would have been there.
Yeah.
And it would have been A-okay. Yeah. So it's just about really having that faith and, having, a good support system around you. But if you don't have that, support system around you that's really helping you out to keep on pushing you. I mean, because you want to be, you said something earlier, can't remember what it was, but I thought about this in my brain, that we try to help people be the trend.
Yeah.
We want them to, a lot of times, you go to work, if you've got an office job, I mean, you go into work and it's like, oh yeah, I know the traffic. Oh, and my kids and my husband or wife and this and that. And there's always something going on. Oh, my back hurts. And all of a sudden you think that's normal. And the fact of the matter is it's not normal. No. It's really the opposite. And what we try to teach people is to be the trend. All of a sudden, if you are the person that has more energy, that is doing the right things, that's climbing the corporate ladder, that is, smiling and happy and energetic, we want people to say, how in the world are you doing that? Why are you doing it? I mean, how is this all happening? And it's, it's really, I want to say it's really simple. I mean, I'm doing the right things for my body and my mind. That's how I'm making all this happen. While you guys are over there around the cooler complaining about, our manager or something like that, I've gotten past that. I know it's all about what I do and not about worrying about somebody else.
Well, I love that. And in addition, today we're talking about up-leveling our norm. one of the norms that we have to deal with is our environment. So I'm curious, when you talk to your clients and people who you work with who are in terrible, difficult, sabotaging environments, what's the guidance you give to them to be able to rise up above that, to transcend that, to get themselves in a new environment?
Well, think about this. If, so for example, Chris, if all of a sudden, you decided to build a brand new house and you invited your best family and friends, and there was a couple people that decided that they got your trash can, and they started dumping all the trash around your house, inside your house, in the kitchen, in the living room, the family room, in the basement. everywhere. You would be furious.
You would kick them out.
You'd kick them out. You might even get into a fight. I don't even know. But you even call the police. But you want them out of there.
Yeah.
And the reason why I tell you that is because this is what you just said, what people do in other people's minds. They throw trash in your minds, and a lot of times you don't kick them out. You just say, "Oh, it's okay, it's normal," all that kind of stuff. And what you have to realize is, once again, it's not normal, and you don't need to deal with that. Now, I know what a lot of people might be thinking. Well, wait a minute, I'm living with that person, or I see them, every day, every week. How do I go about doing that? And I guess a couple things that we can say is, number one, you can limit your exposure to those people if you potentially can, and you also have to, voice your opinion. What we tell them, as an example, my mother, I love her dearly, but she's a negative person. She's a pessimist, and I was very, I see her at least once a week, and I've told her, I said, "Listen, Mom, if for some reason, if you start getting like really negative on me," I said, if all of a sudden I decide to, say, "Listen, hey, Mom, I've got to go," don't take it personally. It's just that you're getting really negative on me, and I've got to be in a good place, and so I want you to be supportive of me. And that right there really clicks in for her, and I think a lot of other people.
Yeah. And the other thing is too, just really understanding, and I had to go through a lot of this in my own transformation when I found a lot of challenges with me expecting, Craig's children to act a certain way because I was used to my own child and those sorts of things. And understanding, it took me a long time to realize, and this was working with the mindset piece, that I couldn't change them. They were who they were. I was who I was. And I had a decision to make. If I wanted to be in this relationship and I wanted all of this to work, I needed to accept everybody that was new in that for who they were, and that I couldn't change them. So it was a matter of taking my own personal responsibility to say, all right, I'm going to accept them because I love them, and I want us all to be here together and find a place where we're all mutually happy and everybody's benefiting from being here together. And so finding that acceptance with other people. Wow. Sometimes that can even be a matter of taking the time to understand where they're coming from. Because everybody's faced with different things in their life, and we're all at different levels, meaning some people haven't yet started this mindset work. Other people have done much more of it than we have. But if we can ask enough questions of them to begin to understand where they come from, it becomes a way that we can help them versus taking whatever's going on with them personally. If they're treating us in a bad way, they're not doing it necessarily to harm us.
Right.
They just don't know any better.
The curiosity creates stops judging them for whatever or however they're showing up. It's like, I wonder why you're doing this. Like, let me get in your world. Let me have some empathy, some compassion for whatever you're dealing with, because I know you wouldn't choose this if you knew what you were doing.
And instead of us taking it personally and saying, well, they're treating me bad, maybe not intentionally. Why are they doing that? How am I receiving it too? Maybe I'm receiving it in a different way than they're intending to project it onto me.
Totally.
That happens even in relationships all the time. And Craig and I, through our awareness of doing this work, know enough now that sometimes one of us will say something to the other person that, depending on their mood, they may receive in a way that was different than what we intended it to be received. And a lot of times it's having those conversations to say, gosh, sitting back and why did I receive it that way? First of all, like, where am I mentally? And then if you still can't figure it out, ask the other person. It's open lines of communication, right? Like, what did you mean by that? Because I took it this way, but I'm not sure that you meant it that way.
I mean, it's miscommunication a lot of times, but you mentioned a key word, Chris, which is, curiosity. I mean, as adults, we generally have lost the art of curiosity.
Yep.
If you think about, kids, they're curious all the time. They ask you questions. They don't care what the answers are. I mean, they want to ask you questions. I mean, why do they put their hand on a hot stove? Because they're curious. Yeah. I mean, why do they do it? Because they're curious. And as we get older, somehow we think we just know everything. And all of a sudden we stop being curious and we stop being the know-it-all, and we start being the know-it-all. And all of a sudden we don't grow then. And that is one of, the problems that we see is, people they don't want to grow as much as they possibly could because they've lost that curiosity.
Yeah, and I'm sure you heard this before. You've probably said it before. The 3 most dangerous words that anyone can say is, I know that. Right? I know that. Oh, yeah, I know that. Because immediately when we say that, it closes us off to learning. So for everyone listening, if you've heard that, if you've said it before to yourself, you can say, I know that, if you catch yourself or become aware of yourself saying that. And what else can I learn? And what new can I learn about this? How else can I see this in a new light so that it makes a difference for me? So if you're going to be somewhere and you feel like you're hearing the fundamentals over and over again, be receptive, be open to how can I apply this even more deeply in my life? Because that's really, I think, a lot about health and fitness. A lot of people are like, okay, so it's simple. I just, eat less calories than I take in. I am peaceful. I meditate. Okay, cool. Yeah. Simple. But it's really, there's so much more application behind it, and when to do it, why to do it, and how to do it, that you guys are really bringing to the table. So I thank you for that, the work that you're doing to create a really vibrant planet, and people around us that we can love and share great memories and experiences with. So we appreciate you doing the work that you do.
Thanks, Chris. And it's fun because the way we look at it is the stronger we all are as individuals, the more we can help others.
Yes.
And that's the beauty in this, right? You have to be the strongest person you can be to help everybody else around you in the greatest capacity. So start where you are today, continue improving yourself every day, and then you have more to share with those around you that are in need. Yes. And that's such an important part of our world, being able to do that, because we will always come across those that are in need. And by the way, there's a difference between being needy and being in need, right? Needy means I don't believe I can do anything for myself. And those people we need to help understand that they don't need to be needy. They have enough within them, to produce themselves. But there are always people in need. There are always people less fortunate than ourselves. And the stronger we are, the more we can help them. And it starts with our own families and our own children, and then goes out into our community as well. And once people start to become stronger and they have that ability to go out and help others, that right there will be the fuel that drives them. I'll tell you, Chris, because of the business that you're in and what you do, you're always helping others. That is more rewarding than anything we could ever do for ourselves once you've experienced that. And that's the power of being the strongest that you can be, and always improving that every day. And I think back to when I was sick, I couldn't help others. And there was something missing, right? And then once I was better and I was stronger, I got that ability back to help others. And now it's what drives me every single day. Who am I going to help? Who am I going to help?
Yeah. And, and you've mentioned this word, whenever it comes to, deepening or deep. And one of the, first things we talk about with clients is, what is your why? And this is where it comes down to really helping yourself and that curiosity part. And people don't understand their why. Some people say well, why do you want to be healthy? Because I do. I don't know. I just want to be healthy. It's the trend. And but it's not just they just take on the surface all the time. I mean, that's what most people do. They're on the surface and asking themselves why. but they never, ever go deep enough. They've got to go vertical. And if they start going vertical, and what we do is we're like, well, why do you want to be healthy? And next thing you know, they'll tell some, surface level thing. And then it's like, well, why do you want to do that? Yep. Why? We keep on going why, almost to the point where they're crying. Because once they realize what their true why is, I mean, it's just this, moment that comes across them. And they are like, wow, I can't believe that, you were saying, you're this close and you just didn't get it because you didn't understand your why. And like I said, once you get that.
And that's sometimes when that tray of cookies starts to look different, right? That we talked about. Yep. Because so many times the why becomes clear when it's almost too late. Somebody will wait until they have an illness, or they'll wait until they're going through a divorce. They'll wait until something happens in their life. Because what happens in life, right, is our body will whisper to us, and then it'll talk a little louder, and then until eventually it's screaming. If we don't listen to it and make the changes it's craving, our body will start screaming and yelling, and we'll know then. It'll be like, hey, something's wrong, and I'm going to wake you up eventually. Yeah. And so everything in life going on around us is kind of that way. We'll get these whispers of changes we should make, then they get louder and louder until we start to listen to them. And so really digging deep and understanding that why before you're in a situation where you're forced to change is the best thing you can do, right? Just starting right where we are today. And every day you wake up, say, what am I going to do to be better today than I was yesterday?
Yeah. And what we found very simply is that once you know your why, the how becomes easy. Yeah. Because everybody is asking you, Chris, how? How do I do that? How do I do this? How? And it's not about really how. I mean, it's part of that, but it's understanding that why first.
Wow. So beautiful. So beautiful. I love it. You guys we're going deep, and the fundamentals are really everything. So I love that we're getting that as well. And let's start diving into why we deserve to have this great, abundant, healthy, vital energy. Like, why do we deserve that? Why are we designed to feel good? And explain a little bit more about why we're supposed to be feeling great all the time, and how we were designed, and how you help your clients and your audiences really dive into that and be that person.
So you got this one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It boils down to finding that self-love, Chris. And that's really where we have to start with our clients, because think about even just a simple relationship for a few minutes. Let's take Craig and I as an example. We come in, we go out on our first couple dates, and everything is just happy-go-lucky, beautiful. My whole life revolves around everything that Craig does. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. And after the first couple dates, though, look, that's putting an awful big burden on Craig's shoulders to say, Craig, you are forever going to keep me happy. Aren't you thrilled with that? For the rest of your life, you have the responsibility that everything you do should keep me happy. Man. Ooh, right? That's really hard, heavy. Right? For anybody. It's impossible, right? Yeah. There is no way that any human being could keep another human being happy for the rest of their life. So if we were to look at the world in that way and assume that that was how things were supposed to work, we would always be looking outside of ourselves to find happiness. But the reality is there is nothing in the world, or no other person in the world, that can always be giving us everything we need or perceive that we need to be happy. No way. The way that it really works is that it comes from internally, and knowing that you are enough. Yeah. Right? I do my best. My best is good enough. I am enough. Right? Yeah. And when we can know that and believe deep down inside, and this takes a lot of work, right? And a lot of affirmations and self-talk, and even mirror work for some people, where you're talking this into the mirror and saying to yourself, and you'd be amazed how difficult it is, right? I'm sure you've probably done this, Chris, where you look in the mirror and you tell yourself you love you, and you look in the eye and you say, I love you, Chris Burns, right? That's people will literally stumble over their own words, and they can't even say it when they have to look themselves in the eyes and say it because they don't yet believe it. Right. But that's really where it starts, is that realization that the world around us, our surroundings, are wonderful, but they can't create our happiness. We have to find our own happiness, and then that creates the perspective from which we see the rest of the world. One of my favorite affirmations is this: my life is a perfect example of synchronicity and flow. I'll say that one more time. My life is a perfect example of synchronicity and flow. And what that means, really, if you think deep about that, is that if something really good is going on, we can enjoy that and embrace that, and it will come to an end. So we should take it in and savor it for everything that it is, knowing that it will come to a close. And then when something that we perceive as negative is going on in our life, instead of perceiving it that way, let's perceive it as a growth opportunity, that the world is showing me this right now as a way to grow and change so that I can move more quickly into another positive experience.
Another thing is capacity, right? Like move into another positive experience. And while I'm here, like I'm being stretched, I'm being graciously, generously trusted with this task, with this like quote unquote burden or challenge or growth opportunity. Imagine who I am being after it's all said and done. When I'm through this, what am I going to be able to handle? What am I going to be able to take on? Who am I going to be for other people? How much of an inspiration and igniter of possibility am I going to be for others? And that's amazing.
Yeah, right. And because until we learn from an experience, many people have seen this over and over in their life, where they see these patterns of the same thing happening over and over, and they wonder why. Right. The why is because they haven't learned yet.
The lesson. Yeah.
Until they learn the lesson from those experiences, the world keeps giving us that same thing, because we all have growing that we need to do. And so the world will keep presenting us with a challenge over and over again until we've been able to embrace it and learn and grow from it, because that's our spot that we need to grow in. And so that's how we truly expand. And that's why it's that synchronicity and flow. We're only ever given what we can handle, right? And then we handle it, we grow from it, we move forward stronger, not only for ourselves, but like we just said earlier, to help other people more. And I use that affirmation at least once a day. Most of the time, much more than that, right? but that's true. That's life, and that keeps us in that mindset where we need to be, of knowing that everything shall pass. The really great times and the really challenging times, they all pass.
We hold on to things a little bit too long. I mean, the good and the bad thing.
Attachment. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is. I mean, it's like,
we're looking to hold on to that great stuff because we can't find our own happiness. So we're like, we got to stay here on vacation forever because it makes me happy. We can be happy when we go home.
I mean, it's like, I was going to say, one of our kids, I mean, what he does, I mean, we always say, I mean, he has, really the perfect life. And that is, I mean, clearly they're all in the same household here. But the reason why is that he forgets what happened 5 minutes ago and doesn't think about what's happening 5 minutes from now. He is focused on, and he is almost always happy. I mean, almost always happy, because he is in the moment. And it's very rare that he, sits there and goes back or goes forward. And where a lot of us, we hold on to that. And I always make a joke, with Jenny, and that is that, years ago, I used to hold on to things a whole lot more. I mean, I wasn't a pack rat, but let's just say that, or a hoarder, but I mean, I held on to things because of that attachment. And, she was always throwing things out. I mean, and I always said, kids, watch out. If you don't move for a long period of time, you just may go. You may be completely useless. And, and I said it to myself too. It's like, oh boy, I better watch out. But we get way too attached to things in our past. We just need to let it go and just need to focus on what's going on in that present and what we can do right then and there to make your life better.
And a funny story, Chris, we actually took the kids to Disney World a number of years ago. And about a year after we got back from Disney World, one of the other kids said something about the trip and how great it was, something we did. And Rocco looks at us and he goes, "We went to Disney World?" And he was dead serious. This kid lets go of stuff so quickly, whether it's good or bad. He did not recall that we even went to Disney World. We had to pull out the pictures and show him.
Oh my gosh.
But he's great. This kid is always happy because he doesn't care if we're home or in Disney World. He's having fun. He is the party, right? That's how we use life. I'm the party. I'm right here. So we've got to be having a good time.
Wow. That's amazing.
If we could all learn a little bit from Rocco, would be...
We'll take some notes from Rocco.
That's right.
That's awesome. So I love it. And I'm curious, what are some big, milestones and things that you guys want to accomplish, or things that you're really standing for in your business, moving forward the next 5-10 years? Like what does that look like, and what can people be expecting from you?
We really want to, very simply change the paradigm of health in the world. Yeah. We want to do that. We want to make people aware of all the possibilities that they have and the endless possibilities. The abundance is out there. Whatever they want to do, whatever they can do is out there. And we want to, we were just at one point in time coaching people, and that is very fulfilling to us. But it's only one person at a time. Right. And by changing one person at a time, it can't change the world. Now, they can impact other people, as we all know, but it just doesn't get the message out quick enough. What we want to do is we really want to get the message out, much quicker. And, as an example, being on your show, Chris, is a way of getting that out a lot quicker to a mass amount of people. And if we can actually get more presentations, we can talk in front of more people, be in more places, and talking in front of thousands of people, that is going to be able to change lives. Yes. And all we've got to do is change a little bit of everybody's life out there, and this world is going to be a much better place.
Yeah. And it's so fun because with social media nowadays too, we can reach people all over the world in an instant. So, today being here with you, this morning we were on our radio show where we had almost 69,000 listeners all over the world. And it's so much fun because you can reach people. And it's interesting because the radio station then receives messages afterwards from people that say, oh my goodness, we're doing this because they just said it. And now we're going to implement that in our lives. And it's finding partners all over the world. That's something that we're really working hard at in our business right now. We have partners in Norway, we have partners in Australia, we have partners in Switzerland, South Africa. So as we expand and have partners all over the world that are working with us on this journey, even if they're running a business that's in health and wellness that is slightly different than how we run ours, when we partner together and create some consistent messaging across the board, we're all working together to shift this paradigm of health. And, society right now is in a position we talked about where everybody wants a quick fix. A lot of times that means not respecting our body, but then throwing pills and medications in it to mask whatever's wrong. But if we can do the mindset work, first of all, because that impacts our physical symptoms, and then also physically take better care of our body and respect both our mind and body, we can heal a lot of those ailments without covering them up with a lot of the medications and stuff. And not that we are anti-doctor, because we certainly do go to our own doctors and things like that. But we have to understand that in order to heal, right, that requires the mind and body work, not just throwing a medication in there. And so it's working alongside your doctor and even helping your doctor to heal you. Because if you're working against what they're trying to do, we're going to do the rest of your life is cover up symptoms and mask it with medication. So working alongside them, respecting the mind and body, that's where we start to see a major shift in the paradigm of health and make major changes around the world.
Yeah, the way I look at it is also this, that, another reason why we got into this is that, imagine simple math. Let's say you start working at age 20 and you decide to retire at age 60. Because of technology, medicine, all these other things, life expectancy is you're almost going to hit 90. And so now all of a sudden you're in supposedly retirement for 30 years of your life. What we found with so many people is that 6 months, a year after retirement, all of a sudden something happens. They become ill. And now they don't have that quality of life. Right. And think about that. If you don't have that quality of life for the next 30 years, how miserable would that be? I mean, we take care of our cars better than we do our bodies. Yeah. We were given one body. But most people, especially in America, you have a 3-year lease. And if you've got a 3-year lease and you still change the oil, rotate the tires, do all that stuff, and you're still turning the car in after 3 years, and you're still doing all this wonderful stuff to it, it's like, I don't get it. And it's because of that, not digging deep enough. They see that surface level. I want my car to be me, and it's not. You're you. It's not all these material things that are around us. I mean, it's how happy you are inside. But you've got to be able to, treat your body very well, and you want to have that quality of life. I always, try to put another picture in people's heads where, let's say you've been successful at your career, and now you do retire, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to get myself a Ferrari, and you can afford that. Do you want your significant other, whoever it is, in the passenger side, or do you want your oxygen tank and your walker there? I mean, that's the way I view it. I want to live my life my way and the quality of life that I want. And I want that till, really the day that I die.
So, we literally have a lot of mountains to climb. We don't want to be having a walker. That's not
Amen. Physical mountains as well as, spiritual, as well as mental, like life mountains. I love it. Mm-hmm. I was going to ask something in terms of having people get like the impact of not focusing on their health now. How do you get people to that realization? How do you get them to, like, I know it might not be comfortable, but like the pain of a lack of action, and how can we really have our audience step up to the challenge and take on their health in a whole new way? After this interview, they just step into reality, like, my health is number one, my wellness, my vitality, my ability to continue to output massive amounts of energy, massive amounts of focus, massive amounts of effort, working with people, just being healthy. How do we really get our audience present to that?
Well, I mean, I think, one of the first things that we talked about already is, understanding that why. Yeah. I mean, if they can actually take, after all this is done, if they can take really 5, 10, 15 minutes and really dig deep in their why, that might all of a sudden give them a little bit of a jar. But what it really comes down to is that I bet you that, I know I've done this before, you've done this, we've all done this. We read these books and we're motivated. We go to a seminar, we're motivated. We're talking with you and everybody's motivated. But like you just said, all of a sudden you get out and, you've got these great ideas, but then it just doesn't happen because life happens. And that's what you say, the life happens, and I just couldn't get it done. And that's where really coaching comes into play. If the coaching is the accountability person, the accountability that you need to get you past those waves. If it isn't for that, a lot of times we do have, sometimes our own issues, but we have to, if we understand that why more, we can dig deeper. And now all of a sudden we're like, all right, now I know what to do. And you also have to, the idea is that once everybody's done listening here today, I would suggest writing down. We always can take, numerous things, but we need to write it down, and we need to make sure that it's measurable and it's specific in what we want to accomplish. So if for some reason you're like, no, I'm not going to get some type of coach, if I just want to do it myself, you've got to then have that discipline for yourself. And you've got to make sure, like I said, it's measurable, achievable, all those wonderful things that you can do. And it's got to be small steps. It can't be big steps. We talk about, it's, 10 days ago, it was New Year's, and, most people have forgot about their New Year's resolutions already. And it's, we try to tell people, our clients, is that, be resolute in everything that you do. And if you are, you never have to worry about resolutions ever. And, everybody wants to hit a reset button, Chris. And the only reset button is whenever you look at accounting. You have to have a year. You have to have taxes. Right. That is the only reason. Businesses, us, nobody else should actually have a reset button. It's a continuum all the time.
Yeah. Imagine, right, that your business, you don't meet your goals by March and you say, well, let's just forget it for this year. Then we'll wait until January 1st of next year. Yeah. We wouldn't do that in our business, but yet our tendency is to do that with our body, to say, well, it didn't work this year. Wow. I'll wait until next year. And one of the things that I encourage people to do sometimes, as much as it's painful to do it, like you said, is how do we get to that pain? Well, I want you to imagine for a minute that your quality of life, your ability to get out of bed and do whatever you want to do each day is suddenly taken away from you tomorrow morning, right? What happens when you can't get out of bed and go to work? What happens if you can't get out of bed and run your business? What happens if you can't get out of bed and feed your children, right? And that over time is the risk that we're taking by not respecting our body and our mind. And so if we can imagine for a moment what all that looks like if that gets taken away, it starts to put into perspective how important it is, because we always put ourselves on the back burner and we say, well, I'm too busy because of work. I'm too busy because of my children. But at the end of the day, those are the things that are going to suffer first if and when our body and mind decide to quit on us.
Yeah. So I hear, like, what's the impact on the people around us? You know, use that to draw pain from, like, how will you be letting down the people closest to you who are depending on you, whether it's your kids, whether it's your community, you're out to empower and build a community and impact the world. You know, if you're not taking care of yourself, these people who you strive to impact and better their lives,
that's right.
They will be like, where's Chris? You know,
and you're using all those as your excuses as to why you don't have time. I can't take care of me because I need to do all of this for them. Oh, but what if you're then not there at all, right? So just like the airplane, what do they tell you on the airplane? You got to put your own oxygen mask on first so that you can help those around you. It's the same in life. And it doesn't have to take a lot of time. That's the other thing. People have this perception that getting in shape and taking care of our body means I have to go to the gym for an hour or two every day. No, we don't. You know, it can be as little as 5-10 minutes of movement. Now, that's not going to make you look like a professional bodybuilder. We're not saying that, but it's sending growth signals to our body to keep the blood flowing, to keep the lymph flowing, and to keep us in a healthier state. And so, you know, it's finding what's right for each individual, of course, but keeping in mind that we must care for ourselves first, not in a selfish way, but in a selfless way, because if we're not well, we can't take care of those around us.
Yeah, and a lot of people, I mean, she mentioned it, but it's about, you know, that time factor. Everybody has got that time factor. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. And, you know, they hear that all the time. And it's like, so, you know, why? It's not about time management. That's what people, I think, don't understand. They use that as an excuse because of time. It's really about energy management.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, so how you control your energy. So, you know, you can say to anybody, well, I ran out of time. And it seems like it just rolls off your tongue so easily. But try saying this instead. I didn't take responsibility.
I didn't prioritize. I didn't prioritize effectively.
That just hurt. I mean, so it's not about that. It's not about the time. I mean, that's just an excuse that people throw out. It's about you not taking responsibility. And that's what, you know, a lot of times what we're all talking about is really taking that responsibility of who and what you are, and also the people around you.
And it's interesting, because we do a lot of these corporate events and we do a lot of business retreats. And one of the things we do there is we offer it out to everybody to get up with us first thing in the morning, 2 hours before the meeting starts. They come and work out with us. And we do some mindset work. And then they go back, get all cleaned up, and then show up for the meeting. And some people show up that have never worked out really in their lives, right? And they're like, my gosh, I feel so different. I'm actually alert for the whole meeting. I'm focused for the whole meeting. When they see what a difference it makes in their energy levels by taking 20 minutes to do this in the morning before they start their day, it changes everything. And suddenly they're getting so much more done. They're like, I have more time on my hands now than I did before I started doing it. Because when their energy and focus is higher, time's no longer an issue. You just increased your productivity. And if we can get more done more efficiently, now you got extra time to enjoy all the things you want to do in life too.
Yeah, that's so important, is the enjoyment of life, right?
Yeah.
The enjoyment of whatever, like, be focused where you're at, be present. You're talking about Rocco. I love that story. It's so awesome. He's so present, right? So present, like just there. And then he's able to be in the next moment and then be whatever that moment calls for, whether it's nurturing, whether it's disciplined, whether it's just peaceful and relaxed. That mindset of, I just completed and I did everything that I could while I was there. Now it's time to take on this new task, this new space, this new environment, whatever, new outcome of my life. And I love that that's how you guys are showing up right now. So let's begin to wrap it up with the final call to action, the what you really want people doing, being, and having after this interview.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Whenever, I'll let you wrap things up. But whenever I look at, people, and I ask, them one question a lot of times, which is, what's the most important piece of a puzzle, a jigsaw puzzle? And, they think they know, hey, this is some kind of trick question of some sort. And, then they say a corner or something like that. It's like, it's the box top.
Yep.
And it's the box top that's the most important piece. Because if you don't have that, you don't know what the picture is. Yeah. A lot of times they do have the sides and the corners. They've got it all in place. But then you've got all these pieces inside, Chris. And that's where they need help with. Sometimes it's about even putting that piece in the right place. Sometimes you know how you put it, you try to twist those pieces a little bit more here or there just to try to make it fit. And that is really what it's all about, is trying to put all those pieces together. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think it comes down to, Chris, every day when we wake up, the first thing we have to do is to say, every decision that I make today will respect my mind and body, right? And really looking at everything we do from that standpoint, meaning when that alarm goes off at 5 a.m., are you hitting the snooze button, or are you getting up to get in your 15 minutes of movement because that's going to energize your day, which is going to respect my body more, right? And so it's making these small changes over time. Increasing the amount of water that you're taking in, getting out of bed and moving in the morning, right? Putting good nutrition instead of the whole cookie tray, having just one cookie, because, and utilizing all of those thoughts we were talking about, right? The affirmations, starting to do that mindset work and taking that responsibility of my mood, my feelings, my actions, they're all my responsibility. And when I can view life in that way and know that it's my responsibility, and that it's my responsibility also to respect myself, then we start to see really positive changes in people's lives. And, we love this. We love connecting with people like you, because you're out there making positive changes in the world every day. I say there are two types of people out there. There's people that are looking for solutions to every problem, and there are people that find a problem for every solution. Yeah. And you are one of the first, my friend. You are definitely looking for solutions to every problem out there. Yes. And those are the people that we want to associate ourselves with. And that's how we want to help the clients really get, because there are people that are just stuck in that rut, right? They wake up every day, they go to work, they come home, Groundhog Day. Yeah, they get dinner on the table, and they're really having trouble finding that flow of joy because they're just stuck in a cycle. And we want to help people see that there is so much more to life. They just have to really be present and to find that, and then to help themselves grow. And before they know it, life is going to be just absolutely beautiful.
Yes, before we know it. That's right. It's right around the corner. I love it. So, Craig and Jenny, what do people do next? How do they stay connected with you? And if you have anything to share, any resources, upcoming events, etc., let us know.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah. So our Facebook page is Craig and Jenny D. So definitely go there, like our page. Then you'll be able to get all of our information as far as recipes and movement programs and mindset information, just a wealth of knowledge there. Yep. And then our website also is craigandjennyd.com. It's CRAIG for Craig, then and Jenny's JENNYD.com, and everything is on there that they can access. We would love for people to email us from that page as well. Reach out if we can help you in any way. That's what we're here for, because our passion is changing lives, helping others so that you're stronger to help everyone around you. And we're just so excited to be part of this with you, Chris. Thank you so much for everything you do to help the world.
I love the energy. I mean, I tell you, this day is really magical because you're just trying to help so many people. I think it is so awesome. I really do. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Craig and Jenny, you two are amazing powerhouse couple. I'm excited to see what evolves, what transpires, and especially with technology, how it's going. We were talking about that earlier, is how, we are broadcasting and receiving stations of transformation, of inspiration, of like great lives, and we can share our stories. So first off, I acknowledge you for sharing your story, and I acknowledge you for discovering the platforms and the tools and the resources to help align people and align communities, align groups to common causes and values to have this world be more prosperous and loving and healthy. Thank you for the work that you guys do.
Thank you, Chris, so much. We'll look forward to seeing you again very soon, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
And we'll circle back with you. This is awesome.
Awesome. You guys have the best day ever, okay?
Thank you. You too,
much.
Chris.
All right.